Layton's Mystery Journey, Katrielle and the Millionaires Conspiracy. Do you think they could have made this title a little bit longer? Now I need to give a little background on my bias towards the Layton series. I've only played 2 Layton games, and both of them were spin-offs. One of them was a mobile game named Layton Brothers Mystery Room, which was basically just like Phoenix Wright, where instead of solving puzzles, you solve mysteries. And I thought it was okay. The other game I played was Layton vs. Phoenix Wright, which I thought was awful. It was the game that introduced me to Professor Layton, and it was also the game that made me hate him so much I almost stopped playing it. If it wasn't for the Phoenix Wright parts, which were actually pretty clever and fun, I would have quit playing it. He is an awful person. He's rude, arrogant, and overall a piece of To talk about it more, I'd be getting into way too many spoilers. But let's just say there is nothing redeeming about him in that game at all. Now this is the story of his daughter. She is a much better person in every sense of the word. She's kind, funny, and cares about people. It's basically the exact opposite of Professor Layton. She opens up a detective agency, and she gets help from her friend and their talking dog that most people can't hear. She goes around and solves the most bland mysteries, like finding a lost animal or stolen merchandise. One of the things that I really liked were the cutscenes that they would show at the beginning or the end of every case. It had a very enjoyable cartoon art style, which made the endings of the cases at least a little bit enjoyable because you could look forward to it. The whole thing is done in an episodic way. Each case takes about an hour to beat, and it feels like a mobile game in the way it's presented. And that's kind of because it was a mobile game, in addition to a 3DS game. Everything is too simplistic, from the plot to the way everything is laid out. I have no idea who the core audience for this was. The storylines that you investigate feel like a kid's game, but the puzzles you have to solve are very tricky at times, so it's really something that a teenager or adult would enjoy. So the story plot points are too boring for an older person, but the puzzles are too hard for a younger one. Like I mentioned, there are puzzles in this. In fact, that's the real hook of this game, the puzzles. They would be like logic puzzles to math to trial and error. They would take points off your score the more that you made a mistake. And these sections usually controlled just fine, as it didn't normally ask you to do too many moves to make you complete the puzzle. The way they incorporate the puzzles into the game was very clunky. Often you would talk to someone to get information, and they would make you solve a puzzle first. What are they, carrying around these elaborate puzzles at all times with the thought if someone dare talk to them, they're gonna make them jump through puzzle hoops first? They give you daily puzzles to play, in addition to a few unlockable extra puzzles as well. Those unlockable ones at least had a theme to it, like setting up menus based on clues where you find out their tastes, or shopping sprees where you have to set up displays correctly. These were quite fun to play. There's plenty here for anyone who likes extra things to do. Layton's Mystery Journey, Katrielle and the Millionaires Conspiracy was an okay game. The puzzles were difficult enough to be enjoyable without being so hard it's frustrating. I wish the cases you had to investigate were that way as well, but it wasn't. They were often dull and too simple. Most of these cases are not linked with each other in anything other than introducing characters to each other. I do hope if they make a sequel to this game, they ditch the episodic gameplay and make the storylines more interesting. So would I recommend this? No, not for $40. Maybe when it comes down to $20, and that's only if you like puzzle games. The story's just not worth it. The problem is with the inconsequential cases that you had to solve. If they had some interesting cases in here, this would be actually a good game. Right now, if you're looking for a game with a bunch of brain teasers, I would say wait for this to go on sale if you're interested.